We will first off call to order, and Jamie will start off with a roll call.
Tim Shinyan.
Here.
Jack McKenzie.
Yep.
Jason Steenblock.
Here.
Jackie McNamara.
Here.
Jim Blake.
Here.
Terry Steenblock.
Here.
All right, next we are looking to approve the agenda. Any adjustments? If not, we're looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion looking for a second.
Second.
All right, any other discussion?
Can I ask a question
Yes.
about the regular agenda?
Yes.
Will we be getting minutes from that joint meeting that we had with the city council?
We will be getting that, and that'll come to our January meeting.
Okay, perfect. That was all I had, thank you.
Perfect. Hearing no other questions, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, and that passes. Next will be our open forum. Jamie, do we have anyone for the open forum today?
We do not. They're here for a agenda item.
Perfect. All right, next we will move on to our regular agenda, approve the minutes. We ended up getting these minutes earlier today, checking to see if everyone has been able to read them over. We can postpone them if everyone has felt like they've not been able to look it over. Any questions for Jamie? If not, we would be looking for a motion to approve.
And Tim, just a note, you would be approving each individual meeting.
Correct.
Great.
So, yep, the first one is the regular meeting on September 19th, 2017. Did everyone have a chance to look at them? Oh, yep.
Yep. I was just gonna make a motion to approve.
Okay. Would you like to make that motion?
Yep.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? That passes. Next is the workshop meetings from October 10th, 2017. Did everyone have a chance to look at those? If so, we're looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the workshop minutes from October 10th, 2017.
We have a motion, looking for a second.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? And that passes. Next would be the regular meeting on November 21st, 2017. I will make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from November 21st, 2017. Looking for a second.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose and abstain. And that passes. Next will be the Girl Scout Silver Project Dog Park presentation. Jamie, if you can start us off, and then I know we have a presentation here tonight on this topic.
Yeah, so Chair and members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, this evening we have 3 representatives from a Girl Scout troop looking to give a presentation to you this evening on a dog park. Idea that they are interested in pursuing for a silver project. And I did meet with the troop recently, and they did provide the presentation to myself, and I thought it was a good opportunity for them to present to the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, given that we had our meeting this evening. So I will turn it over to them in just a minute. Tonight is just for them to have the opportunity to present if you have any initial questions. Otherwise, I think moving into the winter season, it's conversations that as a commission we can continue to have and work together on if there's any opportunity for us to help them achieve their silver project for the dog park. So with that, I will just give me 1 minute. I'll get it up on the screen for you, and then you guys can head up to the podium.
All right. Ladies, if you'd
Okay,
like
so
to
if
go
you
to
wanna-
the podium.
You want to introduce yourself and go ahead with your presentation whenever you're ready.
I'm Aubrey. I'm Taylor. And I'm Sophie. We'd like to propose for an off-leash dog park in Forest Lake. Okay. Well, first off, why would we want a dog park here? We would want a dog park in Forest Lake because we think that every community deserves to have a place where they can freely exercise their dogs. We would want this dog park to be an off-leash dog park. That way, it's easier for the owners to get the dogs exercised and for the dogs to run around. And rather than walking your dog around the neighborhood, you could drive to your local dog park and run around and let your dog run around while you chat with other local dog owners in your community.
Why is it important for a dog to exercise? There are physical and mental rewards. Dogs need exercise. They have so much energy, especially if your dog is inside most of the time. According to the University of Animal Hospitals, when a dog is inside all day and it doesn't get to run around or go outside for a walk, it can lead to dog obesity, fatigue, depression, and many other symptoms that a dog park can help prevent.
Why is it important for a dog to exercise? These are some social rewards. Dogs could become socially awkward just like humans. According to the University of Animal Hospitals, they can also develop social anxiety and depression from lack of contact with other dogs. When a dog goes to the dog park, it gives them an experience that can help guard fear and aggression toward other dogs and people. Having a fenced-in dog park prevents dogs from wandering onto land and possible traffic impacting issues.
Your question is probably, how does this help the community? Well, there are indeed benefits for the community. When a dog park is in your community, it's easier for dog owners to get exercise. But then, how does it help? Well, according to the Twin Cities Pioneer Press, 53% of Minnesotans have dogs, and that's more than half. And studies prove that by owning a dog, it improves health by keeping people active. It also reduces stress. And if Forest Lake has a dog park, then that will attract healthy, less stressed dog owners and family to your community, which builds a happier community. Now, dog owners go outside of Forest Lake to reach a dog park so that they can exercise their dogs, and we just thought it would be helpful for you to have one here.
How is the community going to help us? When the dog park is made, the community is going to help us by picking up their garbage that they left or dropped and picking up their dog's feces and toys. But when the dog park is not ready yet, the community is going to help us by funding to help us buy fences and actual space for the dog park. The community is going to help us by letting us put posters on buildings or outside the buildings just to put the word out so people know there's a dog park coming soon.
How will we carry out this project? We will hope to develop the skill of communication, risk-taker, and trust while in the process of starting this park. We want to communicate to the people of Forest Lake that we need a dog park. We will try to do some fundraisers to help gain money for the park. We hope that you will also help support us and, most importantly, help the dogs. Fundraising ideas. We realize this is going to cost thousands of dollars, but we know that we can't raise all the money, so here are some ideas we have, and we know you have to pay for some too. We could get local business donations. We could get community involvement, getting the word out. We could have springtime outdoor events, puppy parades, dog picnics, etc. We already have created a fundraising website. And we could do a paint with your dog, have a raffle for gift cards, coupons. We could have a how many in the jar where you pay $1 to guess how many dog food or dog treats are in the jar, and then if you win, you get to keep the jar. We could have silent auctions. We could have doggy talent shows, and we could sell bracelets and dog collars for all ideas for money.
Local business donations. Well, these are all the business donations that could help us by getting money for the dog park.
Our next step. We hope you understand the passion towards having a dog park here. If you were to follow through with this, we would wonder what would be your next step. A community on-leash dog park is one of the more common elements among the top cities to live in. Some examples of the ones in Minnesota are St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Plymouth. Do you want to see Forest Lake on the top cities list?
These are all of our sources. And then if you go to the next slide where there's more sources, the last one, it's in a different shade of blue. That is our Go Fund Us website. So we want to spread that around so people can fund the dog park.
For donations. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions for the young ladies here?
I'm just curious, what is this? What's the Silver Project? What does that mean?
It's a project where we have to do something with the community, not for the community. So the community has to help us with it.
It's for Girl Scouts. The Silver Award Project.
Wonderful.
Did you guys do this PowerPoint by yourself?
Yep.
It's incredible. You did a really good job. I work with a lot of adults that don't do as nice a PowerPoint as you guys have here, so you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the GoFundMe page, what is your goal amount for the dog park?
Well, whatever you suggest would cost for the dog park, but we just put on there around 10,000.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a great start for sure. As we go into 2018, are you willing to work with the park commission and try to move forward to possibly promote a dog park with businesses and all that stuff? I'm sure our park commission would love to work with you to try to make that possible.
For sure, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Any other commission comments or questions?
I just have one. You did a wonderful presentation, I agree. Is there a deadline for you guys when you have to get the project done?
It wouldn't need to be done, but just like maybe approved. So like maybe that there would be a dog park, but our deadline for that would be summer of 2018. 19.
2019?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Our Silver Award project is actually like getting a dog park started and not finishing one.
Okay.
So we just have to start it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and so just before we conclude that topic, thank you again for your presentation. Again, you did a great job.
Nice
So you
job.
can have a seat if you're all done. Just some other comments. I did talk with the group when we first met that there gave a little history that the city has talked about dog parks before. There's still an ongoing interest. I explained some of the pros and cons, benefits of a dog park like they outlined, and then some of the other things that a city needs to think about regarding the ongoing maintenance, the costs associated with that, some of the legal issues or things that could come up with a dog park, and some of the challenges that we face. Not to say that they're challenges that we can't come to a solution on, but I did provide a little input on that and said that, let's have the presentation tonight and continue conversations to see if there is any opportunity in the future. I know the city continues to grow and adding quite a bit of apartments and complexes, and I know that it's just been an ongoing discussion. So just thought it would be helpful for them to hear from a different group tonight interested in this, and I can certainly keep working on if you guys have any other thoughts or feedback. But that's kind of where we're at with this project.
For sure. That sounds great.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. We'll move on in our agenda. Next will be the Arts in the Park Entertainment for 2018.
All right, Chair and members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, we have on the agenda tonight our Arts in the Park Entertainment for 2018. Just providing a little summary here of where we're at in this process for considering Mr. Woody McBride as our music promoter for our upcoming Arts in the Park concert series. At our last meeting, November 21st, I did share with the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission preliminary outline of a recommended schedule provided by Mr. McBride. The Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission did review that in our meeting in November. Overall, the feedback was that the proposed schedule did need some reworking. There was some schedule conflicts or some questions about certain groups performing. A lot of the conversation in our last meeting was really understanding the value add of having Mr. McBride hired by the city to schedule our concert series. Wondering if it's something that the city should take over, or if we should continue hiring Mr. McBride. After our Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission meeting last November, Myself, along with Tim Shinian, met with Mr. McBride on Thursday, December 7th, and we had a really productive meeting. We did go over the schedule on a week-to-week basis and provided comments and feedback, and just worked together on coming up with some new ideas. From that meeting, we did receive then a follow-up revised schedule from Mr. McBride on Wednesday, December 14th. I did include a copy of that here, and overall the new proposed schedule was, I think a really solid lineup. Some good returning names, some new familiar names from our meeting, and I know I can turn it over to Tim in a minute. We did get a better understanding of the value add of hiring Mr. McBride. He's an experienced talent buyer, so he does have some negotiating skills and kind of knows the going rate for different groups. And one example, and I'll highlight this in a moment, is the city staff, as well as some members of the Parks Commission, provided some recommendations. And in a quick inquiry, we were told $1,200 for a band, but it came back where Mr. McBride was able to get them for $600. So it's an indirect cost savings to the city, and it allows us to have just stronger talent and entertainment and our concert series. So tonight we're looking at this schedule here. Staff recommendation is, I know one of our decisions last meeting was, do we move forward with hiring Mr. McBride, or is it something the city takes care of? The staff recommendation is to hire Mr. Woody McBride for our 2018 concert series at Arts in the Park. And his compensation is not increasing from last year, so it would be a total of $3,300 for 11 weeks of programming. Also, with that, city staff and Parks, Trails, and Lakes members, Terry Steenblock and Tim Shinian on our subcommittee, can work with Mr. McBride on any final minor adjustments to the schedule and not exceed an entertainment total of $9,500 for the season. Before I turn it over to Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, here's the proposed schedule. The one pending item was, a lot of our conversation was around July 3rd. It's a Tuesday. There's a lot of activity in the community already going on. There's other bands playing at local establishments. Also just looking for some feedback on, if we cancel that date for Arts in the Park this year. And I think our recommendation from the small subgroup was to cancel Arts in the Park on Tuesday, July 3rd. And also to note, I did have the Rock and Hollywoods in here. They're our season finale. That is something outside of what Mr. McBride books, so that's something I handle. That is not one of his weeks that he would be coordinating. But just as a reminder, Mr. McBride has been on site every Tuesday that he's hired. He does the booking, he does the paperwork, and he helps with marketing and promotions of our concert series. So, like I said, I think it's a really great, strong lineup. Another notable item is that in our small group, we talked about kids' nights. We've always had 2 kids and family nights. Right now, we have it drafted as just 1 kids and family night, but I think that's sufficient given that we have a lot of other events and activities in the community. So if anyone has any feedback on that. But otherwise, looking tonight to approve the hiring of Mr. Woody McBride for the 2018 series. From there, our January meeting, I'd have our agreement finalized for approval at that time.
Wonderful. All right. Any questions or?
I'll make that motion for that.
Making the motion for
As Jamie just read it so articulately, that we will support the
your
retainer of Woody in the agenda for this summer.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. I would just like to clarify, in your motion, are we approving the schedule at this time, or are we just approving the amount of $3,300 for Woody McBride and the $9,500 for total budget? Or does that include the schedule?
I think the schedule looks fantastic.
Okay.
I'd like to move that we retain Woody McBride and spend less than $9,500.
Okay. All right.
And move forward.
Perfect.
And as I stated, if there are any minor adjustments, working with the small subcommittee to make that decision.
Right. Perfect. All right, so we do have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments on this? Just wanted to ask, what was everyone's thought about canceling that July 3rd date? That was kind of one that we kind of came up with. I know Vanelli's always has events a few days leading up to it in their parking lot, and we just kind of felt like it was going to interfere with it. So I think everyone seems good with that.
I think it's a great idea.
Perfect. All right. Cool. So we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? And that passes. Next will be the Park and Recreation Coordinator updates, our Fenway Park maintenance.
All right, so we will get through these updates here. First one tonight is the Fenway Park maintenance. Just a brief update on this. We obviously had recently had our joint workshop December 10th with the City Council and the FLA Executive Board. Since then, I've been working with the FLA Committee, working on getting a date set. The update I have for you this evening is they're almost done finalizing their maintenance committee. They do want that committee involved in this process and understanding of what the contractors are that are still in the running and be a part of that process. They also have a board meeting this evening where they're going to be talking about this. I did indicate that our goal would be to have a contractor maintenance provider selected by the end of this month. Feedback from them is that they're going to shoot for that, and working with the city, it might just trickle a little into January. So I'll keep working with them on keeping that in a timely manner so that, one, out of respect for contractors in the bidding process, we can let them know as soon as possible. Some of them, they need to know soon so they can start planning resources. Once that is selected, I can certainly provide updates via email until our next meeting and start working on getting a contract negotiated. And all city staff, Dave Adams and myself, can be involved in that, as well as if Jack, I know Jim, you're ending your commission here, but certainly if Jack wants to be involved in that, the goal is to have, by our January 16th meeting, a contract to look at for Parks, Trails, Lakes Commission approval before anything is signed and done deal. So that's the update I have for you tonight on that. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Perfect. Do you know if all the maintenance and the sprinkler system and everything was complete by Public Works?
They did winterize the system, and all of the work that needed to be done in repairs was completed in order to properly winterize the system.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Lakeside Memorial Park equipment.
All right, Chair and members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, I had a walkthrough at Lakeside Memorial Park again on December 11th, and in that walkthrough, I was with Landscape Structures, and they also invited their installation expert. And I know at one of our more recent meetings, we did talk about, November 21st meeting, we talked about the equipment, the situation where it's shifted because of the proximity of the lake. It was installed with a direct bury, which probably wasn't the best idea. And we know that we need to do something to fix that. It's only going to continue shifting. So with that, a lot of Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission questions were around, how do we know if we put a concrete slab in that it's not going to crack and it's going to shift? So I got a lot of positive feedback from the installation expert that, he recommends putting a pretty significant concrete slab, even potentially elevating it with a lot of rebar. His feedback to me was, it's definitely that would do the trick, and ultimate confidence. They would make sure that our product would be warranted with the work that they're going to do. So with that direction, I know we've also talked a little bit about which direction we move forward. Do we put new equipment there and relocate the existing equipment, and what that cost would be. So just the update today is, I know we talked about having that information for January, so I'm on track with getting that all finalized. I did talk to our Public Works Department today, also had some good feedback and confidence in putting in significant footings, and I can't speak the language, but I can have Dave here to talk about it, but he feels pretty comfortable with that project, and he's also going to provide some pricing to do the concrete work under the surface to have the product surface mounted. Given the fact that we do have to invest in a concrete slab there, feedback I did receive was that would be a good place if we did want to review an inclusive park, because with that, you're already pouring the concrete slab, and with that, it's really nice if you can do the poured in place surfacing. wood fiber chips are technically ADA compliant. You can access those via wheelchair, but it can be difficult to maneuver once they've become a little displaced and loose. So if we really wanted to have an inclusive playground, and I know these are conversations to continue having, they do highly recommend a poured-in-place surfacing for that. It's more expensive, but it's really truly the best all-inclusive, surfacing to have. So their recommendation is if the city is going to do an inclusive park and playground, they would recommend it at Lakeside Memorial Park for that reason. So that's the progress I've made on that. I do plan on having financials and reports for our January 16th meeting to review and compare. So that's the update there. If you have any questions on that.
Hearing none. All right, thank you, Jamie. Next, we'll move on to our ice rinks.
All right, so also update on the ice rinks at our November 21st meeting. We had talked about the fee schedule, and there's a lot of interest in reserving rink time. We did make a motion, and it went to City Council for adding $15 an hour to reserve for a rink reservation, and an additional $10 an hour to have the warming house open with a rink attendant staffed. That did go through and pass. I know there was some question on the opening of the warming house and being open to the public. So I think, the fee schedule is added. I think that, as a Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission or city staff, I'd maybe recommend we rethink the one component of having it open to the public. And we can work on that in our policy updates. But if someone's reserving the gazebo for, let's just say, the $150 on a Saturday, they get exclusive use for that. It's for a party and whatnot, so it's just available to them. So if a birthday party has a reservation and they pay to have the warming house open, let's just say it's a Wednesday night, we might want to rethink that's just private for them. They're paying for that for a private party, and it's just their reservation, not open to the public. So I think that was just some feedback I'd received from City Council. But the fees were added, and I think that's a great addition. I have people that are very interested in reserving ice, and I know, I think that was a great addition to our fee schedule. Just an update on maybe we rethink that as we develop the policy around the reservations. So I will be working on that here in the next coming up week, so we can maybe finalize something at our January 16th meeting on the rink reservation policy. And the last thing with the ice rinks is we did open the rinks this past weekend on Friday, December 15th. Just wanted to give kudos to the Public Works Department. They did a fantastic job. In a very short period of time, they were able to get the ice quality really great, even with a little setback with some vandalism that I talked about of damage to the rinks. They bounced back really quick from that. The rinks were in great condition. There was so much positive feedback this weekend. I was there at the open at Tower Park, and there's people out there already just super excited, and we're just really excited about the new rink, the boards we put up, and just the ice quality over the weekend. My rink attendant said a lot of positive feedback. Sunday there was about 30 or 40 people out there. And I encourage you to go take a look too if you haven't seen them at Tower, and then also at Belts Park we have a rink liner in and a small set of boards, and as of today, I heard that it looks like glass, and it's like the best ice quality that you've seen. So if you haven't taken a look, kudos to them. They've done a great job. So a lot of positive feedback there. We're going to keep promoting it and hope we have a really good season, hopefully a little longer than last year too. So
perfect. Yeah, it looks great out there. I know even just on Facebook, the promotion of it that the city did, it's being shared between different hockey groups and the school district and everything else, and I think people are really being able to see that and be able to utilize that. Like Jack said last month, a year ago, we were ready to throw away that park. And now this winter, it's going to be our biggest park. So
might hit premier status.
There you go. Very cool. Awesome. Next, we'll move on to the Forest Lake Lions Park donation.
All right, so again, another item, follow-up from our last meeting. At the end of our last meeting, we had talked about, we had made a decision to move forward with purchasing a piece of inclusive playground equipment, and as working through that, there was some, I sent some things over an email just to get some ideas out there. There was one piece that we could purchase within the budgeted amount of $7,500 that we received as a donation from the Forest Lake Lions. There was while it's an inclusive piece, we're putting it in a not very accessible playground at the time. So the challenges with that, it was called an Omni Spin. It's like a merry-go-round, but it's an inclusive piece because it has transfer points. So you could put a wheelchair up to it, and there's a transfer point where you can, for those who are able to, transfer onto the equipment and play and spin. However, there is the downside of that. Those who are not able to leave a wheelchair would not be able to utilize that. So we didn't want to rush into a decision, and we want to respect the Forest Lake Lions and make sure that it's something that they're truly happy with as well. So we've further looked into, there's called the Sway Fund. It's one where you can actually wheel onto it, and it's something that everybody could use. However, it comes at a higher price tag and just some other details that go with that from an installation perspective, as well as it requires a ramp and just some other things. So the update this evening is the city was able to mark that $7,500 to our park dedication fund so that we can use that in 2018. I do have some ideas and thoughts, and I'm working a little bit with Terry and Jason on a potential proposal to the Forest Lake Lions. I know that they've had interest in having a Lions Park in the community, and an idea of our challenge with that is what park could we rename and what park would it be, which one would make sense. And as we're working through that, my idea was we could pursue Belts Park with a Forest Lake Lions playground, and other communities have done it that way, so you don't have to change the name of a park and the city branding, but then they get the recognition of that's their playground that they've sponsored or donated. So furthering these conversations as we go into 2018, the working concept is maybe we look at, if we're interested in an inclusive playground, presenting that to the Forest Lake Lions, of seeing if that's something that they'd be interested in partnering with over the course of a 3 to 4 year span, and figuring out what that would look like from a cost perspective. We also have the Minnesota DNR grant coming up due March 30th that I'm starting the heavy work on that. And if all the stars align and that's something we want to do between cities contribution and maybe a grant along with the Forest Lake Lions, it could be a great partnership in the community. So I think that's the current status on that. And if you have any thoughts, ideas, feedback, certainly let me know, but I'll keep you updated as we just kind of start creeping into the new year here really soon on where I'm at with that potential proposal or presentation and ideas. And if I want to get you something before our January 16th meeting, so if there's any feedback. So $7,500 was not spent. It's in our park dedication fund for 2018.
All right. Questions? None? All right. Next would be the Parks Trails Comp Plan Workshop.
This evening, just wanted to let you know that coming up in our February regular meeting, a portion of that meeting is going to be for Parks and Trails comp planning. So we will have our city's zoning administrator and potentially some of our other comprehensive planning team here. We'll have our regular meeting for a short period of time, and then that's going to be the bulk of our February meeting. But with that, I'd like to have a workshop prior to our February regular meeting. So just to let you know that that's coming up, we really need to start thinking of Parks and Trails future planning, not just 2018 and our 5-year capital improvement plan. We really need to start thinking for the future. The updates for the comprehensive plan are due at the end of 2018, so it's a good time to really have us be able to put some input to it, as well as community members who can attend that February Parks Trails comp plan session that we'll have as part of our regular meeting.
Yes.
How far out does the comp plan go?
I believe it's 2040. 2040. So I will send you, after the new year, I'll send you a couple date options for a little workshop where we can meet to talk about that. That'd be the only item on the agenda, so we can prepare for the February Parks and Trails comp planning session.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. Anything else for the Parks, Trails, Lakes Commission tonight? Do you have anything?
Just other, I know, I think Jim Blake is, the end of his term is coming up here at the end of December, so just want to thank him for his time and commitment. He's been a huge asset to many different projects in the community. If he doesn't renew, we'll certainly miss him, but hope he stays in touch and continues to be involved if he'd like to be, more as a volunteer level. So thank you to you, Jim. Appreciate it all. And then just other, being that it's the end of the month, we're the only ones to have our December meeting. So I think it just is a testament to like how committed everybody's been, a very strong, dedicated group. And I think everyone should be proud of yourselves for all the hard work I know and appreciate all the time that the hours and hours that you've put in beyond what's required of you for being on this Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission. So everybody's feedback, input, getting us to here today. I think we had a great year. I think we had a couple really big successes, and I feel like we have a lot of good positive momentum moving into the new year. So I'm looking forward to some new and exciting things that have a list started, and I'm looking forward to getting those going here in the near future. So thank you. Really appreciate everybody. And that's all I have for updates this evening.
All right. Next, the Park Trails Lakes Commissioner updates. Do you have anything? I just want to wish
I'll say
everyone a
something.
great holiday season. So,
Oh, thank
Jackie?
you. I send that sentiment also, but I want to also thank Jamie. It'll be almost a year now that she went on full time. Excuse me. I think she's done a fabulous job. So I thank you.
Thank you,
For really
Jackie.
taking fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
all right. Anything else for our meeting? If not, let's finish off 2017. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll make
moved.
it.
She beat
Ladies
you.
first.
I second-
Ladies
I
first.
second.
Second. All right. Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that passes. Thank you, everyone.